Hey guys, and welcome to my review of episode 4 of season 2 of The Rings of Power. So, if you saw my review last week on the first 3 episodes, you will know that I did not like them whatsoever. I thought they were not just bad, but pretty horrendous in all sorts of ways. I mean, from the dialogue to the plot to the writing to the characters to the action to everything, I just found absolutely appalling. And safe to say, I think this episode 4, continues that theme, possibly is even worse. And I've made some notes here down below. I'm going to be referring to them back and forth because I want to get them all out there. But this show is just appalling on so many levels. But I'm just going to start off with like the list that I made in dot points. So anything from involving the Harfoots and the stranger in the show who's not Gandalf, is just horrible. I mean, I don't know how to explain just how pointless of a plot line it is within the grander scheme of the show. Now, I would argue that nothing much really happens with any of the main groups of characters in their storylines, but the Halfwoods has absolutely nothing happening. And now that they even in this episode get separated from the stranger, it's like even more nothingness that they are going through, where they now meet this new tribe of Halfwoods that are called Stores or something like that. And they're just a whole bunch of wanderers as well. So nothing really going on with them. Meanwhile, the stranger meets a very important Tolkien Lord of the Rings character in Tom Bombadil. But this was another just terrible sequence of scenes with this Tom Bombadil character and the stranger, because the Tom Bombadil that I remember from the book, The Fellowship of the Ring in particular, the reason he wasn't included in the Fellowship of the Ring movie is because they found him so out of place within the more serious tone that they were going for in those films. As in, he was so charismatic, so bubbly, and so like just wonderfully weird that it just felt like if they went to him, it just would have changed the whole tone of the film for a good portion of the film. So they removed him. Here, they've introduced Tom Bombadil, but he lacks all charisma. Like there's nothing going for him whatsoever. He's monotone in his delivery. He has the one-liners that Tom Bombadil says, but they don't feel like Tom Bombadil. They feel just like any old person saying them. He doesn't have that charisma or that wacky flair about him. So he just really a bad performance, if you ask me. I don't want to put it all on the actor. I feel like it's maybe the director's fault who's just not encouraging them to go for it, because that's what they need him to be. Just be this weird and wacky thing in this show that's just devoid of any memorable characters. He was the opportunity to have one, and he's just as bland as the rest of them. So that was pretty shocking, but I can't really say surprising. Other dot points I got here, I want to talk about a few. Last week I mentioned some quotes from the show that were really bad, and this one had them again. So one of them that gets said by one of the store lady that the Harfoots meet, she says, "If we put your brain in a vulture, you would fly backwards." She was referring to a young boy who was with them. If we put your brain in a vulture, you would fly backwards. Like, it's so lame. It's really bad dialogue, and just trying to be Tolkienian with these whimsical one-liners and just not working whatsoever. Another one I have is from Tom Bombadil, where he says, "A staff is like a name. It's yours to wield, but you have to prove yourself worthy." Do you have to be worthy of your name? Your name is your name. Why do you have to be worthy of it? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, it's just nonsense. They're trying to sound really deep and symbolic and wise, but it just comes off as nothingness. It's really bad. And another one I've got here: "Swear that defeating Sauron will come first, even before my life." So Galadriel says that to Elrond. Elrond says, "I will not do this because what you're saying is born out of the ring's influence on you." But then he proceeds the next words to say, "But yes, I will put destroying Sauron first, and even if it means costing your life." So it's like nonsense. It's just filling the time. Nothing happens. There's nothing in that was of any substance, because he just denied what she said, but then proceeded to promise it anyway. So it's just baloney. Like, I don't know how to explain it any more than that. I'm gonna go through a few more of these dot points, but yeah, let's talk about a bit of the action scenes, because there are a few action moments here, but they were appalling. They were so bad. I mean, the kind of the big one that you had was with this company of elves with Elrond and Galadriel and some others who are going to Eregion to warn Celebrimbor about Sauron's influence, whatever. They encounter the Barrow-wights, which are essentially kind of like ring wraith type things, like they're wraith sort of things. They're the Barrow-wights, and they're like ghosts, and they're there to fight them. But the scene has no stakes, no tension. They move in slow motion. They don't do anything. They just get stabbed. They don't fight back or attack. The elves just stab them at will. There's no stakes to any of it. It's just a really boring and bland fight. And I mean, you think talk about the money that they spend into the show. Even if you can't get the writing and all of that stuff right, at least try and get the action right, just from a mindless standpoint. But there's not even anything of that for us to gain. And there's another scene later on where you have Arondir, the black elf, with Isildur and another girl, and they encounter Ents, essentially. And these Ents, threaten their lives, basically. And Arondir has to calm them down. But the action is just really bad and there's no build-up, so you don't feel anything in these moments whatsoever. They're just completely devoid of any sort of intensity. So you can't buy into it, you can't escape it. And even just like little things in that scene, like for example, I felt the audio, the voiceover of the Ents was really bad in those scenes. They sounded like they were in like an echoey room where they recorded them. Didn't sound genuine and in universe, particularly when you compare to like Treebeard from the Lord of the Rings films. His vocals, like by John Rhys Davies, were phenomenal, but this here was just, they sounded really bland and boring and just echoey, like they didn't sound genuine to the world, if that makes sense. And just little nitpicks here and there about all of his action scenes. None of them had any suspense, tension. You didn't care about what was going to happen to any of the characters. Then later on, Arondir finds Theo, who'd been hiding in a tree with these Ents, and it's meant to be like some emotional moment that they're reunited, but you feel nothing because you don't care about any of these characters. And this is just such a critical problem with the show as a whole, that there's nothing to latch onto, nothing that you want to like, nothing you care about. That's just the basic summary here, is that I do not care about a single thing that happens in the show. I do not care about one character. If they live, die, whatever, I'm indifferent. It's just complete boredom, to be honest. I don't know why I'm going to continue reviewing this, but I am, because I love torturing myself. But this show is just, it's honestly getting from bad to worse, if I'm being honest. I don't, as bad as the first season was and as bad as these first 3 episodes were, I think this was a step down again. It's just, there's so much more I could talk about in this episode. I can't even have the time to get to it, but it was just so bad on so many levels. So yeah, that's my thoughts, guys. I'm not going to go on longer than that. It's just, wow. Like, who would thought $1 billion for this TV show and it looks as cheap as anything? Like, be great. I don't even want to call it fan fiction because I feel like that's offensive to fans who actually care about this stuff. This does not feel like there's any care in this whatsoever. It's devoid of any heart or substance. It's just bland and boring nothingness, and it's a shame, but because I love Lord of the Rings, but I hate this show. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, guys, in the comment section below. What did you think of this episode if you had the chance to watch it? Are you liking it more or less than I am? Want to hear it all? Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Give it a like and subscribe to my channel, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.